Welcome to the KZGN News. Today we'll bring you news about the Kern County Sheriff's Department, the City Council, and today's Talking Points editorial.
From the Rademacher Hills to Bee Mountain and the mighty Sierras, Ridgecrest to Inyo Kern and China Lake, this is your news for the Indian Wells Valley with the KZGN News crew.
Hello, I'm Tom Wicknick. Thanks for joining us for the news affecting Ridgecrest and the Indian Wells Valley. Kern County Sheriff's Office announces a new Nixle alert system. The Kern County Sheriff's Office has recently partnered with Nixle to implement a new community notification system that can be utilized to alert Kern County residents in real time to localize emergency situations and relevant community advisories. Nixle, founded in 2009, provides a mass communications hub built exclusively for government agencies to provide secure, reliable, and relevant information to residents in real time. Today, over 7,200 agencies throughout the United States rely on Nixle for community notification and emergency communication. Nixle's exclusive partnerships with Inlets, Google, and the National Center for Missing and Exploited Children allows local enforcement agencies nationwide to send immediate alerts and advisories. There are several easy ways for Kern County residents to sign up for Nixle. First, text your zip code to 888-777 from your mobile phone. Second, text Kern Sheriff in one word to 888-777 from your mobile phone. Or third, go to www.nixle.com to sign up. Once registered, residents will receive a confirmation text to their mobile device. All alerts will be targeted geographically, allowing residents to receive localized, relevant alerts from the Kern County Sheriff's Office. In City Council news, here's your final notice. We want to make sure everyone knows that the City Council will be hosting their first Town Hall meeting since the last election. The Town Hall is set for tomorrow, 6 p.m. at the City Council chambers. Cedric Knight of NDTI will be the facilitator of the meeting. This is something I campaigned on during the last campaign. I commend Mayor Breeden for picking up on the idea and making it happen. I think informal town halls are a great way for elected officials to let the people get to know them better. It provides a good exchange of concerns and ideas. I commend Mayor Breeden for picking up on that idea and making it happen. I would only encourage her to have more of these. Anyway, the main topic for this first town hall will be economic development. I hope they are also open for other items of interest the people may want to talk about as well. As far as the economic development topic, previous councils have struggled over the years on how to promote economic development. Everyone recognizes the Navy at China Lake as our main industry that makes Ridgecrest exist. So past economic development has always been tried to promote business in coordination with the base or promote diversification. The council wants to hear what we, the people, think should be done to encourage economic development. I know a lot of people out there have ideas of what should be done and what shouldn't be done. Anyway, put on your thinking caps. Let's get ideas from all of you out there. Attend this meeting and enter into the discussion. Even economic development is important to have a thriving community. We need new ideas. We need you all to get involved. Some out there may have just the right idea we need. Don't sit home and just talk about it. Get involved. The council really does want to hear your ideas. The town hall is set for tomorrow, 6 p.m. at the City Council chambers. Plan on attending. And thanks to a story from the Daily Independent and their reporter Deborah Mills, here's a wonderful happy birthday story. Last Saturday, Opal Good celebrated her 108th birthday. Fantastic. She accounts that she was born in Indian Territory and that eventually became the state of Oklahoma. After that, she grew up in Texas and Oklahoma. She moved to Bakersfield in 1927 and then finally moving here to Ridgecrest more than 40 years ago. All of us at KZGN wish her a happy birthday, and may there be many more to come. Stay tuned for today's KZGN Talking Points editorial when we come back. Welcome back. Now it's time for the 49th KZGN News Talking Points editorial. Do we hear more about race now than we did just 7 years ago? But first, a comment received from Dan. He offered a comment on last Thursday's editorial titled, "Should elected officials be forced to participate in internet social media sites?" Dan said, "What I have found annoying is when elected representatives, like our city council, refer to social media in a sarcastic manner, calling it wrong and at times full of lies, and then refuse to participate meaningfully. A case in point was our former mayor. He clearly disparaged it, but when certain items hit Facebook, he showed excellent backpedaling skills. And Harry added, in the end, our elected officials can make all the excuses they want, but they should remember that they were elected by we the people, and they need to be accountable to us by every means at their disposal. Harry closes by saying, I say that those who make excuses and continue to ignore social media are doing a big disservice to their constituency. Well, Dan, I have to agree with you. I know that some council members do at least watch the Facebook blogs, even though they don't admit it or make comments. But I also know that some of your elected officials never look at them. You should contact them and let them know your opinion. And to you, Harry, I agree with you as well. Elected officials need to come into the current century and participate on internet media. But again, my point of the editorial was to make sure everyone knows that you should not depend on the idea that your elected officials are watching these internet sites. Some don't. So don't believe you are influencing all of them by making comments there. When you have opinions on items for an elected body, nothing is more powerful than appearing at the meeting and providing your opinion in person where all the board will hear them. Now on to today's editorial titled, Do we hear more about race now than we did just 7 years ago? As anyone knows, we are hearing more about race now than we did 7 years ago. I mean, we are hearing about race almost every night on the national news. While it won't take away that there are some things going on that may be racial in context, I think the mainstream media is too fast to bring any issue between blacks and whites as a race issue. And I think it started with President and Mrs. Obama, and it filters down from there. It includes the reluctance of the Attorney General to prosecute things that some people thought were racially based. There have been a number of cases not brought or just kind of ignored by former Attorney General Holder. Now, to be fully open, I never supported Obama for president, but it had absolutely nothing to do with his race. Nothing. I didn't support him because he had no applicable experience to be president, and I was almost against every one of his proposals. Not because he was black, because after all, the truth is he's only half black anyway. Well, when the president took office, I was personally at a point that I didn't see any difference between blacks, whites, or any other nationality. But now I'm thinking more and more about it again, and I'm not comfortable with that. I was at a point that everyone was equal. Everyone is treated the same. I didn't care about anyone's race. But now that has all changed. There have been quick jumps to conclusions by the president as to supposed race issues, that he has even had to admit later that race was not in the equation. Every confrontation between a white police officer and a black person is not rooted in race. It's about someone breaking the law or not doing what a police officer has ordered somebody to do. I have had police officer training. All through the training was stressed to us about everyone's constitutional rights and that we were to do everything possible to protect those rights. I mean, this was pounded into all the students over and over. But since Obama was elected, I think tensions have escalated dramatically. We are hearing about supposed racial conflicts almost every night. Why? Why does the mainstream media seem to want to perpetuate this sentiment? Why aren't they looking for the good things whites and blacks do? I don't believe the mainstream media is helping this tension at all, but making it worse. They are keeping people spun up over some issue that they don't even know the details of what happened. But there are already protesters in the streets protesting based on rumors, not facts. The mainstream media continues to evolve innuendo into facts. I was not raised in a racist home. As a matter of fact, race was seldom discussed. I was raised in a home where getting a good education and getting a job was the most important thing to do in life. I was taught to get married, have kids, raise a family. I was taught to contribute to society as a whole, to find something that I could offer to help make our world better. It didn't have to be anything big or major, just do something. I was taught not to be a burden on society, to take care of myself and my family. Race didn't come into the discussion. As a matter of fact, my first occurrence with racism was when I was in the Army, and it wasn't caused by the Army. During training, and then as I became a radar instructor, I befriended a black fellow soldier. We got along great. We even had fun at work during the day. I got to like him so well, I even had him over to have dinner with me and my family, more than once. And it was kind of funny, but blacks in the Army had this special handshake they always did with each other. My new friend taught me that handshake. Then the race thing came in. One night, I was out at some event. I saw my friend there with some of his fellow black buddies. I went over to them to say hi. They kind of looked at me like, "What do you want?" I tried to give the handshake, and they wouldn't do it back. Even my friend wouldn't do it with me. I finally took the hint and left them alone. The next day at the Army base, I asked my friend why he shunned me last evening. He said he had to. His buddies didn't want me around, and he had to go along with them. I told him that was nonsense. While he agreed it was, he said that's the way it is and probably always will be. Well, needless to say, our friendship was never the same after that. We did stay friends, but not as close as we had been. I was not taught as a child to treat any other race badly. Did I hear about racism? Of course. Was I racist then? I don't think so. But here we are 40 years later, and racism is in the news every night. This has got to stop. But there are people that have race as their whole purpose in life. If there wasn't racism, they'd have nothing to complain about. They'd have no purpose. They need to keep racism alive. And the mainstream media is helping them do just that. Every run-in between police officers and blacks is not about racism. I'd say 99% of the time it's about someone breaking the law or not doing what the officer has ordered them to do. Even in yesterday's Texas event, if those kids had followed the officer's instructions, it would have never escalated to what happened. Police officers are trained to first get everyone to stop, calm down, and get control of the situation. Then sort things out to determine what is happening. The officer could be heard on tape telling one of the young men for him to just sit there and wait till he was able to sort things out. No one was being arrested. Now, I am not saying that the officer did the right thing by drawing his gun. To get control of the situation, the officer was ordering some of the kids to just go away, go home. If the young girls had left the scene as ordered, the altercation would never have happened. But even worse than not leaving when ordered to do so, they came back to argue with the officer. Anyway, it seems the mainstream media desires to bring racism into this one now. They are on this high horse that racism isn't going away and that police departments have this as an ingrained problem and that they have to do something about it. I can say one thing for sure. It is not ingrained in the Ridgecrest Police Department. That is my personal observed conclusion. And racism was a topic during training that everyone was to be treated equally with respect and attention to not restricting a person's constitutional rights. No one is being helped when there is a false charge of racism. Come on, mainstream media. Get all the facts before bringing race into the discussion. You do it every time that some attack might be tied to terrorism. You show great constraint to get the facts before talking terrorism, usually. Do the same before bringing race into a topic. In conclusion, I can't say racism is worse now than it was 7 years ago, but it sure seems like it. I do believe President Obama has made it worse with his constant charges that racism is a problem that has to stop. We hear that there is still a lot of racism out there every evening on the news. Enough already. This has got to stop. We are all equal. Let's live that way. I'm Tom Winnick, and that's what I think. I'd like to know what you think. If any of you comments about this editorial or would like to discuss or recommend a topic, I'd like to hear from you. Please email them to info@kzgn.net. Stay tuned for weather and sports when we come back. Thanks for staying with us. Let's go to Keith for the weather.
Thank you, Tom. The National Weather Service is forecasting a risk of severe storms capable of producing large hail and damaging winds across parts of the upper Midwest from eastern South Dakota across much of Montana and northern Wisconsin, and into the upper peninsula of Michigan, from the northeastern Pennsylvania across eastern New York and western portions of Connecticut and Massachusetts, and into Vermont and New Hampshire. Temperatures across the nation: Carolinas came in at 83, Florida, mid to upper 80s, Georgia, 78, Texas, 82, Kansas, 84, North Dakota, 80 degrees, Colorado, 73, New Mexico, 72, Arizona, 84, Idaho, 76, San Francisco, 61 degrees, and Los Angeles came in at 62. And for our forecast in the IWV, tonight, 30% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly cloudy with a low around 67. North wind 5 to 10 miles per hour, with wind gusts as high as 15. Wednesday, a 20% chance of showers and possible thunderstorm, mostly sunny with a high near 95. Light west-southwest wind 10 to 15 miles per hour, wind gusts high as 20. Wednesday night, 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, partly cloudy with a low around 67. Breezy with a west wind 15 to 20 miles per hour with wind gusts as high as 30. Thursday, mostly sunny with a high near 97, west-southwest wind 5 miles per hour. Thursday night, partly cloudy with a low around 70, west wind 5 miles per hour. And on Friday, a 20% chance of showers and thunderstorms, mostly sunny and hot with a high near 101, northeast wind 5 miles per hour. And that is your KZGN weather. Now back to Tom and the rest of your KZGN news.
Thanks, Keith. Let's go to Tom Heck with sports.
And a pleasant Tuesday afternoon to everyone. Let's start with Major League Baseball. The Dodgers, good night last night at home. They beat Arizona 9-3. The Dodgers have a 2-game lead over the Giants for first place in the National League West. Meanwhile, the Angels were idle on Monday. They'll take on Tampa Bay tonight in Florida. They'll start a 3-game series there before returning home this next weekend to the Big A. All right, also on the scoreboard from Monday, San Diego beat Atlanta 5-3. San Diego with actually a run in the ninth to do that to tie the game, then they won the game in extra innings. Toronto all over the Marlins 11-3. Toronto now has won 5 games in a row. Kansas City beats Minnesota 3-1. That's a battle for the American League Central Division first and second place. The Reds beat the Phillies 6-4, and Milwaukee over Pittsburgh 2-0. The Houston Astros, who are right now 4.5 games above the Angels and 3 games above the Rangers for first place in the American League West, has now lost 5 games in a row as they drop a 3-1 game last night in Chicago. Okay, NCAA baseball, exciting stuff. Super Regionals, Cal State Fullerton 4, Louisville 3. Cal State Fullerton wins the game in 11 innings. It'll be their 18th trip to Omaha, Nebraska for the College World Series. They haven't been there since '09, but Cal State Fullerton last night was actually down 3-1. They scored 2 runs in the 8th inning to tie the game. Then they win the game on a controversial home run. David Barrera, a left-handed hitter, hit one down the left field line, and it just did graze the foul pole in left field. It was very close. They reviewed it, and they decided it was indeed a home run. So Cal State Fullerton moves on. They had over 6,000 in Louisville last night. That's a record for a college baseball game in the state of Kentucky. All right, also in the Super Regionals last night, Vanderbilt beat Illinois 4-2, and in 16 innings, the game ended about 1:15 Central Time. It was Texas A&M losing a heartbreaker to TCU. So TCU moves on to the Baseball World Series in Omaha, along with Miami, Arkansas, Virginia, Florida, and Louisiana State. That'll start on Saturday and Sunday. It's always a great time of the year if you're a baseball fan, especially. All right, the Red Wings have named Jeff Blasel as their head coach, and in Game 3 last night of the NHL Stanley Cup Championships, it was Tampa Bay 3 and Chicago 2. That game in Chicago, it's a 2-1 lead now for Tampa Bay. Soccer, the World Cup, the women, the USA 3, Australia 1. And in the NBA tonight, Game 3 up in Cleveland, it'll be Golden State and the Cleveland Cavaliers, series tied at 1 game apiece. That's your sports for this Tuesday. I'm Tom Heck for KZGN.
So that's the news for today. All of us at KZGN-TV know you have a choice in what you watch for news. We all thank you for choosing KZGN-TV, Ridgecrest's only community TV station.